Good morning, everybody. What's going on? Welcome back to Movie Mornings. I am your host, Martino, and today's a very special episode. We're going to be talking about Black Adam in spoiler-heavy detail, the latest film starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, directed by the great Jaume-Colette Sara. I can't wait to get into this. I've been looking forward to this film for a long time. If you guys have been following this channel, you should know that. And The Rock has been looking forward to this film for a long time, and I'm a huge fan of The Rock. But before we get started today, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave some feedback in the comment section, share this with your friends, hit the bell for notifications. Sitting with me here today, Jose, without giving your thoughts on the film here right away, how are you today?
I'm doing great. I'm super excited to get into this spoiler-heavy review of Black Adam. As Dom said, he's been waiting for this film. I have as well. Ever since the announcement of this film, I have been waiting to watch this film. You know, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I like his acting. I think he's a really good actor. Although mainly everything he's been in is comedy. I really liked seeing him kind of venture out and do, you know, this kind of DC, I guess, vigilante type movie.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of range that he typically just doesn't show a whole lot. This is definitely one of the reasons I was most looking forward to this as well, is because he is playing kind of a different side that we are used to seeing him. And I know how passionate he's been about this. I know how much he loves Black Adam and has loved it since he was a kid, for sure, because this project's been in the talks. I mean, he's been attached to this for basically 15 years now, which is pretty insane, before the DCEU was even really conceived, honestly. So it's kind of interesting that it's finally here. So I'm going to let you just give your overall non-spoiler thoughts on the film here really quick before we dive into the spoilers and I give my thoughts at all. So Jose, you saw Black Adam. You say you went to the IMAX for this one.
I did.
Your thoughts, go.
I'll start with the fact that I was surprised that my theater wasn't as filled as I thought it was going to be. Not many people in it. But I mean, overall as a film, I absolutely enjoyed this. I'm with the audience on this one. Was phenomenal film. Definitely has set up a lot for future DCU films. And yeah, man, I mean, I just liked seeing culture, you know, the way the culture was used in this film. Because you don't really see that a lot in, I guess, comic book films and like superheroes, villain-based films. You don't really see that a lot, and I really liked how they incorporated that with this one, and just the way that they went, and the narrative and the story of this film was great. I loved it. The action was also great. Certain things that I didn't really particularly like, but we'll get into it later on.
Okay, sure. Yeah, look, guys, if you've been following me for a little while here, you guys know that I have been anticipating this film like crazy. I've done all the trailer reactions and everything, and I've been talking about Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson doing this role for a while. I'm a huge fan of Jaume-Colette Sara, based on Jungle Cruise. If you guys saw the movie night back when that was a show here that Sammy Ramirez and myself did, we both really liked Jungle Cruise. We were big fans of it, and we thought Jaume-Colette Sara and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson actually made a really good pairing together, and it was honestly a role for The Rock that I hadn't seen him do before, which is why I thought he was perfect to kind of helm this film, honestly. And I've been stoked for this, man. If you guys have been following me, you know that I've been very stoked for this film. So I see it finally, and here's what I got for you. All right, look, this movie is littered with issues. It's like crazy littered, and I can get into some of that here as we discuss this further. There's a lot about this movie that I wanted to hit. It just didn't really hit, and honestly, that it was a big bummer for me. I think Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is incredible in the role, though. It's just to throw that out as a positive. I don't want 100%. Anybody else to play Black Adam ever. He is incredible in the role. I also thought the Justice Society was a big highlight of this film for the most part, and I'll kind of talk about that here a little bit too. I thought they actually delivered. I think Pierce Brosnan needs to be hired in more roles in his older age. I like this idea of older Pierce Brosnan. And as a Dr. Fate, I mean, wow, I honestly stunned me. And Hawkman was a big highlight.
Oh God.
I have a couple problems with Cyclone. I'll get into that here in a little bit. And I liked Adam Smasher, but still have some issues with him for the
Oh
most part.
yeah, same.
But he was okay. Honestly, though, overall, though, like I said, this movie, it just had a lot of problems. But I'd be lying if I said there wasn't fun to be had here. I'm in this weird middle ground right now where it's like I don't think that this really hit what the market was supposed to hit for me, for in order for me to rank this as like a is like high on my list as a comic book film, or really for me to see like a different trajectory for the DCEU from here on out, except for one little thing which we'll get into here a little later. Outside of that, I don't really see that trajectory hitting, but I do like this casting, if that makes sense. Like, I think Rock really makes the role work. And overall, I guess I'm like, this movie's fine. You know, like if you go out and see it and you love it, I'm not gonna like hold that against you at all. I think it's got a lot of fun to be had. And I think the action sequences work. Cinematography is pretty fantastic across the board for the most part. I think that everything technically is pretty okay, except for the editing. I did have a lot of editing issues as well. I think that this movie could really undergo a recut and be a lot better, but that's kind of my take on it right now. I don't know if it was a thing of before AT&T, or I'm sorry, before Discovery took over, maybe the movie was a lot worse, and then when Discovery did take over, maybe they wanted it recut, so maybe this is the best way to save it. I don't know if it was one of those situations or not. Either way, look, they put a lot behind this movie in terms of the marketing, the hype, and I just don't think it paid off at the end of the day. I think it was a fine movie. I'm probably going to watch it again. There's scenes I really admire and adore for sure. Like, I'm not like blown away by the movie, but the scenes that I love, I really, really love. And I think, like, again, it's fine. Like, if you go back through my DCEU history, the Suicide Squad's a movie that I don't think is very good, but I had a lot of fun with it. This is kind of there. It's like, I don't think it's very good, but I had fun with it.
I liked it better than the first Suicide Squad.
But I think
for
it's
sure.
better than the first Suicide Squad, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Like, I still think it's better, but like it's still one of those things where it's like I don't think it's very good. I just happen to have fun with it, you know.
I mean, yeah, compared to other DCU films that we've gotten, it definitely doesn't compare, but it's definitely not the worst. I really did enjoy this film overall. I guess one thing I'll get into. One thing I didn't like was the name Justice Society. Like, what the fuck? Like, that's the best you could come up with. I did not like that name. Sorry. I mean,
It's fine.
you could have said and you could have named it anything. We named it Justice Society.
It's one of those things that like they're trying to be beholden to the comics on that, but on the same hand, like you could like argue, I don't know, it's one of those things that you could argue, because like I get that argument all the time when I don't like something in a comic book movie, and people always come at with me with, it's in the comics though. It's like, I don't give a shit. This is the movie.
Honestly,
it didn't translate well, but I didn't mind the name personally. Maybe it's because I've been familiar with the Justice Society for a while now, but yeah, anyway, go ahead.
yeah, but like the characters themselves, I for the most part didn't have a problem with. Like for Hawkman, I really enjoyed his character.
Yeah.
Dr. Fate was probably my favorite.
Awesome.
In the Justice
Awesome.
Society, his performance throughout this entire movie was just It was small to begin with, but then, you know, as the movie went on, his performance and role just got bigger and bigger, and honestly, it was amazing.
He was great.
Cyclone and Atom Smasher, to me, they kind of just felt like side characters.
They felt thrown in, did they not?
Yeah, they just felt kind of just like kind of just, all right, we're just gonna put these two characters in here in this Justice Society and kind of just see what happens. Like I said, I felt like they were kind of just side characters thrown in there. They didn't really add much or do much in this film. I saw honestly, for me, Atom Smasher was almost kind of like the comedic relief of this movie. Because of it was almost like he was trying to be Ant-Man, but did a lot of he fucked up a couple times, and to me really was just the comedic relief. And then Cyclone was kind of just like a chick that could control control air, and that was about it. and
Yeah,
I mean, she didn't really add much either.
yeah, and it's honestly, it really does come from a place where I want to see more cool women superheroes in this
Mm-hmm.
world, and like that they just kind of threw one under the bus the way they did. I felt like in this movie just kind of hurts my heart a little bit because we do need more good roles for females here, and it wasn't the actress by any means. By the way, I want to throw that out there. It wasn't the actress. Her performance was perfectly fine. I just think that the writing didn't really justify her to be a good presence in the movie overall. And I also thought the first time that they showed her use her abilities, it looked really bad. I don't know why. Maybe it was just me. To me, like the first time at least we saw her use her abilities, it just didn't look good. Looked kind of cringy and corny, and that had me laughing quite a bit, like not in the right way. And so there was that. And Adam Smasher, like you said, again, it wasn't the performer. He did fine. I
I
just
mean, yeah, the actor himself, Noah
yeah
Centineo, he's actually a really good actor. I've seen
yeah
him in some other stuff, and he's actually a really good actor. It just felt like he was just thrown in this movie and
very
didn't
thrown in. Yeah
I just didn't really add much. I will say too, the Kandak natives, the mom and her son,
yeah. I didn't like the
not
son. I thought the mom was fine. I thought
the
the
mom
son
the
was a
mom
bad actor, but that's me.
the mom was really good. The villain was, which by the way, I don't know if you caught it. He played Jafar in the live action Aladdin.
Was that Israel or something like that in this one?
Yeah, Ishmael or is
Yeah,
something like
something
that.
like
So
Ishmael.
it was,
Yeah,
yeah, but yeah, he played Jafar in Aladdin live action. I don't know if you caught that.
yeah. Really, the villain actually ended up being Sabak, who didn't come in till like the last 15 minutes, and I thought that they could have cut that better to where he was in the movie earlier, just so we had more of
Yeah,
that
honestly,
time
I was gonna
clock and
say
more
I was
stakes.
gonna that was the other thing that I didn't like was that
Hmm.
the the fight against the big bad didn't last long. It was very
Yeah,
fast. It was very quick and fast, and I really wanted to see a lot more from this the big bad that was Sadak. Is that his name?
yeah. I think the third
Yeah.
act definitely left kind of little to be desired there because it was
Mm.
definitely just kind of rushed at the end and didn't really.
Although I would say Doctor Fate's in the third act was
That
the
stuff worked.
that
Yeah.
was the best. That was the best for sure.
Yeah, that stuff really worked. I did like the dynamic between him and Hawkman, especially
Mm-hmm.
throughout the film. I thought that they played their storyline was some of the best written stuff in the movie for sure because
And
it had
Hawkman
stakes.
and Hawkman and Black Adam's chemistry, the back and
Yeah,
forth,
yeah,
that made me laugh in the good way because he was Hawkman was like, don't kill, but then Black Adam's like, well, I'm going to like
right.
their back and forth debuckling was actually made me laugh in the good way.
Yeah,
Honestly,
that stuff played.
some funny stuff.
That stuff definitely played. There was some comedic moments again that I thought were just throwaway. Like a lot of the jokes that they go for, I don't think worked most of the time. The stuff though, like you were saying, between Black Adam, and Hawkman definitely worked. Should we say Teth Adam, which is his
Yeah,
name for most of this film?
right.
It's Teth Adam.
And
It's
he actually never says Black Adam. He just literally says
yeah.
I think he says I'm gonna be called or my new name is, and then he just literally shows Black Adam.
Which that angle I didn't really mind. Something I thought they could have really done in the third act to kind of give it a time clock a little bit more is in the beginning when Black Adam and Hawkman were having their little dispute, and then you got Dr. Fate on the other side of that doing something else, or the submarine thing going on with that. Like, I thought they could have cut the two together simultaneously and switched back and forth more rather than having one long sequence, and then another long sequence after that. I would much rather them just cut that together and play
Mm.
simultaneously. That was some of the editing choices I wasn't really a huge fan of. It actually didn't really make a lot of sense why they didn't do that, just to give it give it some more stakes, give it more of a pace. I thought could have been really easy to do, and they just kind of missed the mark there. They really dropped the ball for that on me. And there were other moments like that too throughout the film where I was like, the editing doesn't really pay off. I actually really don't like the opening of the movie either. I'll be very honest. Like, I feel like they kind of go down this route in the opening. I'll kind of get into a couple things about the opening here because they go down this route where it's narrating and explaining things, which I get it needs to be in the movie. This kind of goes back into the editing because then later on you kind of tread right back down that route. And I thought maybe it could have all been done in one. instead of like having to do it once
Like flashbacks.
and then
Yeah.
or just cut flashbacks throughout the movie rather than having to do it all in one go in the beginning. I thought that just kind of dragged the film quite a bit for me in the pace. And then we retreaded back down that path later, which we really just could have used the movie to just keep building to it, just kind of cut the flashbacks throughout.
They cut back to the same flashback multiple times, or I feel like that time could have been used to capitalize more
Right.
on other stuff.
Yeah, and I found it all to be kind of messy and convoluted every time it kind of got explained. It just felt like somebody explaining it who didn't really know how to explain it every time it happened. And like it was just the writing. It wasn't the performing of the narration. It was just mainly the writing of the narration that it really did feel like it was all kind of being explained by somebody who either A, wanted to get through the explanation quickly, or B, just didn't really understand everything happening and just wanted to.
Well, I'm pretty sure it was the kid who was narrating the beginning.
Yeah, right.
The
And
son, the son, yeah.
which that was the other thing. He wasn't very good to me in the movie. I didn't think he worked very well. So that didn't help matters at all. And the other thing is like I don't like how it starts with them just going straight into, finding Black Adam. Like it really does kind of start with that. There are parts of that scene where I'm like, that should have been what Uncharted was. But then there are other parts of that scene where I'm like, but it's rushed. They go way too quickly into the Black Adam thing. Like I would have liked to have learned a lot more about the characters straight from the get-go. At least these like side players that we're gonna have in this movie.
I was gonna say, because we didn't really learn much about him until like middle of second act, towards more like towards the end of the movie.
Yeah,
really when we learn more about him.
So it felt like I was just kind of following like a lot of underdeveloped characters right there from the get-go. And then they go in, and the scene where he starts fucking shit up, I mean, it's tight. It's real tight.
Dude, dude,
that works. Yeah, that stuff really plays.
It's really cool to see the wizards and the whole Shazam thing again. That was really cool to see.
I love the connection, by the way. Let me throw that out there too.
With Shazam and now, the connection there, that was really cool.
I'm so glad they went out of their way to add those little connections for people, because like honestly, like,
so now he has to say, just like with Shazam, he has to say Shazam to either give himself the powers or take it away.
Yeah, people that have no idea what this property is going to be are going to see that, and they're going to, put it in their minds like, oh, I see how this connects to the universe. So that I actually enjoyed. Like some of the universe, the way that they connected the universe together actually kind of works in this movie. Like that's some of the stuff that really works. There's actually another big universe connection, and again, we are talking spoilers. So Harcourt from Peacemaker shows up toward the end. The thing I didn't like about that was the writing, because she kind of jumps out like, you surprised to see us? Like I didn't like that, but I was happy to see her, but that, other than that, it wasn't like I didn't like how it played, because it was so
whenever they were delivering,
when they delivered Black Adam for the end.
Oh yeah, that I was trying to remember when I was watching the movie who that was, because she looks so familiar. Now you say, yeah, it's her. Yeah,
happy to see her.
And that whole scene too with Dr. Fate kind of narrating and then helping Black Adam get back, but like that whole narration scene was amazing.
I liked it, except the editing again, because when the action started up, I was like, they're doing this like it was an experiment, I guess, but they were trying to do like this, I don't know how to explain it. It was like slow motion. There was too much slow motion in this movie right off the bat. Let me go ahead and say that. But
yeah, honestly, when Black Adam was fighting, it was like all in slow motion,
then like a stop, and then like, or it was like fast motion to slow motion, and then like a cut, and then it's fast. It just took me out of it. Like I know that a lot of these DC movies like to play with that, but it needs to stop or at least be cut down. Like sometimes you could use it and it looks really cool. Other times not so much. Like there were slow-mo scenes that Jaume-Colette Sara used in Jungle Cruise, and I thought he actually used slow-mo really well in that movie. And so I was actually very surprised to see that he didn't have a good handle on it in this one in terms of his direction. Like I thought that the slow-mo was just overplayed, didn't look all that good. And the other thing about that last fight, by the way, way overly CGI'd. I mean, there's times to use CGI and then there's times to not. And you could use CGI, but I don't think it was as necessary for everything as they used it. I would have liked to see a little bit more practicality. I think the first Wonder Woman, as much as I loved it, kind of messed up in the same lane there, where I think the last act really just overplayed its CGI. And I kind of see a repeated pattern of that here, which I wasn't a huge fan of. Suicide Squad did it too, the first one. And this one did the same thing again. And I want them to kind of learn from their mistakes a little bit on that. And when The Rock is on the screen, though, I mean, he's electric, and everything that he's doing is just fantastic, man. I mean, when Black Adam's on that screen,
no pun intended.
No, really though. I mean, he's great, dude. Yeah, you're right. But like,
No, you say electric.
I got the pun. Yeah,
no pun
but
intended.
the no pun intended. Honestly, like his performance is really good, and
dude, it really is. Honestly, it's one of my favorite roles from him, for sure. Like, man, it's like Henry Cavill with The Witcher. Like, Dwayne Johnson was just born to play Black Adam, honestly, and I can't wait to see future projects that Dwayne Johnson gets to play as Black Adam in, because I know it's going to be amazing.
I feel bad because I don't know how much the Justice Society is going to play in future projects. Honestly, like I don't know if they're going to be taken to as well. So I don't know for which case I just don't know how much they're going to use them. You know what I mean? Like it's
yeah,
kind
I
of one of
honestly
those things.
don't. I kind of don't want them to.
I want Hawkman back at least because
I want at least Hawkman back, because again, like I said, half of the team wasn't good in this movie. Unless you bring other better characters into the Justice Society, I really don't want to see the Justice Society.
Well, what you could do though is you could actually end up using them in a better script and a better directed film, and then it'd probably be fine. You know what I mean? But
true, yeah.
I just don't think the studio is going to think that way, but who knows? Because, well, Superman. Let's go and just talk about that really quick so we get it out of the way.
What, the end credits scene?
Amazing.
Oh, dude, honestly, bro, my theater flipped the fuck out when as soon as he popped up. Like, that whole scene was, because you see what's her name? Fuck,
Amanda Waller.
Yeah, Amanda Waller pop up with that drone talking to Black Adam. She's like, okay, you don't want to stay in my prison? Fine. Kahndaq is not your prison. You ever leave this place, I'm gonna send people for you. And then he goes, ain't no one powerful enough to destroy me. Then he fucking zaps that drone, and then out of nowhere, boom, Henry Cavill as Superman.
Well,
I'm like,
not just Henry Cavill, to the original John Williams Superman score, which was even better to hear. I mean,
dude.
Dun, 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 dun. Oh my gosh!
Which now, I mean, that literally tells me that in Man of Steel 2 we're gonna have Black Adam.
Either that, or we're gonna get Black Adam versus Superman, a movie. I mean, who knows? Because that's I think
first we had Batman versus Superman. Now we got Black Adam versus Superman.
Well, you put Rock and Cavill on a poster, it's gonna sell tickets overnight. I mean, that's gonna be incredible.
Bro, it's gonna sell out so many showings.
Yeah,
like crazy.
So my feeling of this is that this movie is a leftover of the AT&T leadership. And I think that this post-credit scene was shot after Zaslav took over Warner Brothers. And I think it's been said as much. I mean, Rock said in an interview, we've been fighting to get the most powerful being in the universe in a movie for a long time, and we couldn't do it with the old leadership. But with the new leadership, it was pretty easy to sell them on it. It makes a lot of sense. This post-credit scene was obviously a new addition, which is why it showed up in a post-credit scene and you didn't see Cavill in the movie itself. Because a Black Adam versus Superman story just would have been a better overall story in general. You know what I mean? For this entire movie.
Yeah. And
I'm not saying you should need Superman to make a good Black Adam movie, but I'm saying that, I mean, come on, why didn't you just do that in the first place? You know what I mean? Because
honestly, bro, you're putting two gods against each other. Like, it's just a perfect story, honestly.
And don't get me wrong, I was happy to learn about Black Adam's origins. I think that the movie does bring that, at least, and you do get to learn about that, and now I know I'm smarter for it, in terms of DC.
Yeah, I mean, the
lore.
conversation with the conversation the Hawkman and Black Adam had right before he says Shazam and gives up his powers, that was a emotional ass story right there. It really got me.
Oh yeah,
honestly.
No, absolutely, that stuff.
And that's when Hawkman really started feeling for Adam.
Yeah. And it played, with the exception that it wasn't built to right. You know what I mean? Like when the moments come, in singular moments they work, and then I think about like the way that they tracked it or edited it, and I was like, why did it have to come now in
what?
this manner? And yeah,
One of my favorite shots was when Adam was floating back up to the water, and you just zoom in on his face,
that
and
was a
you
good
just hear him,
shot.
he whispers Shazam, bro.
I did like
That
that shot a
was,
lot. I won't
dude,
lie to you. Yeah,
that was oof.
that was
That
a
one
very
got me,
good
bro.
shot.
That one got me.
Yeah, I see stuff like that, and I'm like, that's some of the stuff that, I saw in Jungle Cruise. I like so much about Jaume's direction, because like shots like that. But man, this was just a bummer to me because like it's so littered with problems. I couldn't stop watching this movie without having an issue, and that's the thing that sucks. Like man, when Black Adam though, when he goes into his thing, and anytime he's fucking shit up on the screen, it's great. I think another problem with the Black Adam character though,
I liked.
go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that another thing I liked was how the people kind of saw Black Adam as the hero, and then they saw the Justice League as the villains. I thought that was a really cool take, in this storyline.
Yeah. Oh, you know what was really funny to me? The mom telling the kid, "Oh, nothing's gonna happen to you," and sure as shit, something happened to him.
Oh, bro,
I called it.
Shit hit the fan for him.
I started laughing. I was like, I called it. It was just actually kind of funny to me the way it played. But one of my problems is with the Black Adam character is sort of a mishandling of him. I feel like is not really knowing what to do with him. Like I just felt like this entire movie was struggling on what to do with the Black Adam character, and I get it, he's like an anti-hero, but they had to like I felt like the movie had to keep shoving it down our throats, like he would kind of flirt with the good guys, and then like the movie would have to shove down our throats, but wait a minute, I'm gonna kill people, I'm a bad guy. And I wish the movie just would have picked a lane sometimes, and then other times it's just like, even though he's helping out the Justice Society, like I think as the audience member we get it, like you don't have to shove it down our throats for us to understand.
He's also, the way I saw it, I don't think he was really helping the Justice Society per se. I think he was just trying to help Kahndaq.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Well, let me rephrase. The
Kahndaq.
Justice Society was helping him for moments in the movie, and I think that yeah, and I think that that's where it was a big misstep to me, because they kept shoving it down our throats that he's the bad guy. It was all in the script to me, and like I think that like without the extra dialogue or explanation, like as the audience, we just would have gotten it. You didn't have to keep telling us I'm the bad guy, I'm not the good. And it just tried to play that way too many times for me. Like, and I think that was a big struggle with the script, is honestly just not having a clear path or direction where Black Adam was going to go here. Like,
I forget his name, but I hate to call him this, but the fat, I guess, was he an uncle? I can't remember.
Who is it? Oh yeah, the uncle, the big guy.
But yeah, he was funny too.
I'm glad you liked him. I thought he was annoying. But I'm glad you liked him.
He was a comedic relief to me, bro. Every single time he was in the car, the same song played and just made me laugh. Honestly.
Yeah, some of the stuff I didn't like for me, because like, yeah, to me that just got annoying. Him constantly cracking jokes. I thought Adam Smasher had the better jokes personally, but I didn't like. Again, he was a completely underdeveloped character, so it didn't really matter either way. But like I thought he had the better jokes.
Another issue I had too was the Hawkman constantly telling Adam Smasher, "You and me."
Yeah.
Like that. I mean, the first time was funny. Yeah, I get it. But then the second, third,
the first time I laughed out loud. Actually, you and me. But then like when he,
I did too.
Yeah.
Yeah. The first time he said it, I started dying laughing in the theater. But then the second, third, fourth time, it just got annoying.
It did. That was an overplayed joke. He had a couple of those. This movie actually, I mean, I hate to keep singing this song about comic book movies that try to be humorous, because if you have Dwayne Johnson, you make a humorous movie. But the thing is like, he's not the one cracking the jokes in this one. Like, so I just felt like the movie could have picked the lane to where it just would have stayed dark, maybe. Like, I don't know. Like, I hate to keep singing that song about these movies, but after seeing the Snyder Cut, it's like, even though that has comedic moments, it's not overused. They play it right, and the movie pretty much throughout its tone remains fairly dark, and this movie could have done that.
Maybe that's what we need. We should need a director's cut of Black Adam.
Maybe, like, I'm curious to see, because like I could clearly tell there's things cut in this movie, and like I'm clearly just like wondering, like, it was the original edit just that bad that they had to cut it to be passable, or is it another situation where the AT&T leadership cut this movie this way and then Zaslav just let it alone, you know, like didn't want to put any more money into it, or did Zaslav have to recut it to make it good? I don't know.
They obviously had to screen it to people for it to pass, because I mean that's what happened to, I believe, what was it, the Batwoman movie?
Batgirl.
Batgirl. They screened it to a bunch of people that didn't like it. Exactly. So I'm guessing they screened this to people that liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
What do I know?
So,
I mean, I'm just giving my opinion.
I mean, I liked it.
Yeah,
so.
Exactly. So what do I know? I mean, and let me retread here again, because it's not a thing of where I hated this movie. It's a thing of like, I'm still seeing a lot of leftover issues from the AT&T leadership, and I still just happen to have some fun with this movie. You know what I mean? It's more or less that. Like, it's not I dislike this movie strongly type deal. It's just more or less like I don't know if I would spend money on it if I were anybody, you know, personally, but that's just me. Like I'm just like,
and the box office can speak for itself too. I mean, it's already made 140 million globally, and this movie's came out three days ago. So I mean,
people like it, and that's great. I commend that. If you enjoyed it, wonderful. I just don't think that this ain't it, fam. You know, this ain't the direction that you need to go. Like, it's not hitting the mark yet. I don't think. I think DC has a lot more to offer.
I think from what I can see, the struggle for DC is really trying to make a villain, making a standalone villain, like the main person in their movie be a villain,
which they've done successfully with Joker. You know,
which I mean, besides Joker,
but in the DCEU universe, in this universe, they do have a problem with that. Like, it's this universe that they're struggling with, not their.
Yeah, that's what I'm. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, because, I mean, I guess technically in this universe, it's their first time doing a movie where the
villain was the
villain is exactly. So I can kind of see where, you know, this movie kind of struggles, because it is their first time trying to tackle that.
Yeah, although James Gunn, I mean, with the Suicide Squad, I think was very successful in doing that, and
100%,
making a comedic film, by the way, like, because the Suicide Squad is one of the best comedies to come out last year, and
dude, funnier than hell.
But yet you have villains at the forefront, but because it's like approached from this very sort of like dark angle, it really works, and I don't think that this movie should have been a comedy, but
if they would have done that, like if they would have approached it that way, I would think it would have been a lot better.
Yeah, and I don't think this movie should have been a comedy. I just think that they should have approached.
I mean, you could have had
dark element,
you know, comedy every now and then, just not as much as it was usually.
Yeah. I'm not saying no comedy. I'm not against comedy in movies. I'm just against it when it throws the tone off, and this movie tended to do that multiple times to me. Like, it threw in a joke where a joke
that was one of my gripes with this movie. That was one of my gripes with this movie, is that there's too much comedy in this film when it really isn't one. You know, this one definitely should have been darker.
I think so. And it was marketed as such, you know, like I think the early trailers especially were marketed for this to be a much darker movie than we'd seen, and you know, with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's comments, and no fault to him, he's trying to sell his movie, but his comments of, you know, the power's about to shift in the DCEU or whatever he said. I mean, you know, things like that just really did make the movie sound a lot darker than it was, and maybe Dwayne Johnson wanted a darker movie and just didn't get his way on that. I don't know. Maybe that was part of it, or maybe it's the other side of it, to where Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson just knows his audience and knows what they're gonna like, and look at what the result is. I mean, the audience is really loving this movie, so I can't fault it for it. You know, like, I'm not. Again, what do I know? You know, because the audience likes it. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't, because at the end of the day, if it makes money, it's going to make money. But there's also a conversation to be had about, you look at Man of Steel, which didn't do very well, but Zaslav recognizes in the right movie we can make Cavill really good. And to me, that gives me hope for my own personal taste and what I would like to see, because I did want to see Cavill back in another movie. I like Man of Steel though, and a lot of people don't.
Oh, dude,
Yeah,
I love that. I own that movie in DVD, and I've watched that movie
yeah.
so many times. I absolutely love that movie.
I really love Man of Steel. I think it's one of their best outings as being a universe, personally. But so for my own personal taste, this doesn't work, but a lot of people are going to love it, and I commend that. And if that's what you want to see, then go pay for it. You know what I mean? It's just, for me, it's like, I don't think I need to, spend money to see this again in the theater. I might get it on Blu-ray because I'm a completionist, and there's a lot about this movie I really liked, and there's a lot that I do want to see again. It's not that I don't ever want to watch this movie again. I do, and it would work really nicely in a DC marathon, especially moving into that post-credit scene. And, I think it would just play really, really awesome. I can't wait to see what that turns into, and hopefully it's something great. I do trust Zaslav in charge right now of DC or of Warner Brothers. It's really going to be Dan Lin, who's going to be DC's Kevin Feige now. So that, I don't know much of his work. I mean, I know he was a producer on It, and I like the It movies a lot. And so that's, so that gives me a little bit of hope right there. It's not DC, but the guy clearly can recognize a good movie. He has a pretty decent resume. And so him being the now DC's Kevin Feige after this, really, I think, I'm trying to think, is this going to be the last project of the AT&T leftovers? No, I mean, because The Flash and Aquaman,
Shazam! Fury of the Gods, right?
Shazam, The Flash, and Aquaman, which I trust Shazam to be good because of.
I mean, the trailer looks sick.
Well, David S. Sandberg already did a great Shazam movie. I don't think he's going to make a bad one now. So, I think Shazam is going to be very good. I think that'll be one of the ones. Same with Aquaman 2. I trust James Wan behind that, and same with The Flash. I just trust Andy Muschietti. I think the guy's an artist. I love what he did with the It movies. I don't know what they did in the reshoots for The Flash.
I just want to see Grant Gustin in there, bro. Oh man,
we'll see.
I just need to see him. I need to see him back as the Flash.
We'll see.
Although he is shooting his final season, I know that.
Yeah.
So who knows?
Yeah. Well, he who must not be named showed up in the Flash. So I'm just saying. Oh God. Oh, I'm just saying, like, him shooting his final season doesn't mean that he can't go over and, you know what I mean? Make an appearance if he needs to.
Yeah.
I feel like he's going to be in it. That's just my take.
I mean, yeah, because it's going to be multiple Flashes in this movie.
Yeah, so it's the No Way Home.
Grant Gustin has to be one.
It's DCEU's No Way Home. So
No Way Home, yeah.
Where they're going to have, like, so I would imagine he's probably just going to show up. It just makes sense. Well, if somebody doesn't like working with a certain other somebody, I can't see it being him not making some kind of a cameo or appearance, because it just wouldn't make sense. There was a lot of speculation about Black Adam, that it would take place in a different universe, and that clearly was not the case. This definitely takes place in the DCEU full-fledged, which, again, I like the interconnectivity. I think that's one of the things that really worked about this movie, is them actually making a real effort to interconnect a lot of these pieces. And we've seen movies that might have been good in the DCEU, but didn't really make the effort to interconnect a lot. Like, I don't think Wonder Woman, except for, well, Wonder Woman did a good job with the Batman stuff in the beginning and her emailing Bruce Wayne. So that's an exception. But, like, Shazam doesn't make much of an effort, let's be real. I mean, you get that little quick, like, Superman cameo, and they mentioned that Batman and Superman are in the universe, but it's not really making much of an effort to be. It's a great movie, but it doesn't make an effort to interconnect. So anytime one of these tries to do that, it's actually much appreciated. Suicide Squad, the first one, made an effort to interconnect because it had Batman in the beginning and all that. The second Suicide Squad, not so much. There was a lot of interconnectivity there.
Batman versus Superman did.
Batman v Superman, yeah. Honest, that and Justice League, obviously, because that is kind of everything coming together. So they obviously really had to interconnect things. But the Peacemaker did a good job there in the finale. They had Flash and Aquaman. Actually, the whole Justice League showed up at the end.
He likes fucking fish.
That was a good scene. Yeah. Say what you want about He Who Must Not Be Named, but that was funny. It was a good scene. Played very well. So I did enjoy that.
I like how that's what we're calling him now.
I don't know. I do we need to really give him any more press or any more
No.
media at this point? I'm done. But I mean, I think the guy's a good actor, but I'm done. Look, there's that, but yeah. So much appreciated interconnectivity here. Hardcore was a surprise, man. It was a surprise. I did not expect.
Honestly,
to see
bro. Same. Honestly,
Yeah.
that was it baffled me.
And it really, I wonder what that's going to lead into for Peacemaker season 2. That definitely got me curious. So that's a big compliment to this movie, because she's working on some bigger operations now than she was in the first season of Peacemaker, if you ask me. So that's definitely piqued my curiosity in a big way of what she's going to do.
Peacemaker season 2 is going to be a fucking insane season.
I think I still think it's DCEU's best thing in terms of this universe.
100%.
This universe, 100%. That's the best thing they're doing. Well, I'd say the Snyder Cut, but apparently it's not canon, so I can't really count that. Because apparently they just decided not to make it canon. We'll see with this new leadership what they decide to do, honestly. But in terms of what AT&T said, that's not going to be canon. So we'll see. A lot about this I liked, though. A lot about this movie I liked. I had fun. I did. Like, I don't want to sit here and pretend like this movie was a complete waste. I had fun at the end of the day. I thought it was a decent outing again. You know, it just a lot of bummers surrounding it, and a lot of things that I'm just like questioning. Like, is this? There's no real clear-cut path for if the Justice Society needs to show up again. I think that's probably my bigger problem with the team. I don't really have an issue with the name like you did. I just have a bigger issue of, are they developed to be something bigger in the universe? Like, it wasn't clear-cut.
I feel like they need a one more film to really prove it.
Yeah, they had good players in there. You know what I mean? Like, dude, I know we've already discussed him. I don't think we discussed him enough. Pierce Brosnan is the fucking man. Like,
bro, he was the best. Dr. Fate was, oh my god, dude.
Why
that scene where he just like covered up the temple and like was basically gonna like try and like basically sacrifice himself, like that got me.
Why hasn't older Pierce Brosnan been hired more in roles? Like, I don't understand.
You know what's crazy is that's one thing that I was talking, now that you mention it, we were having a discussion in my American film history. Our teacher asked us what demographic do you think gets the most hate in film, and he said old people, because you don't really see old people these days in films.
Yeah,
you really don't. And that's bad, because man, old people can really bring it.
That's an interesting conversation to have, because when you do see like elderly in the movie or in a movie now, it's always amazing. The same. They're amazing. They're typically like an amazing supporting character in a different movie, and then when they're leads, it's always the same thing. It's a comedy about old guys who went broke. They used to be criminals. They have to go rob a bank now in their old age. Is that not always the plot of these older guy movies?
I mean, yeah, Dirty Grandpa with Robert De Niro and Zac Efron.
Right, and they got that one that's like Going in Style or something like that. Either that or they're going out for one last party. It's a group of friends that used to be. It's always that. It's the same two plots every time, and like it gets kind of tiring. They just did the one with Bryan Cranston that was like the bank robbing or whatever. I didn't see it. And not that all of those have been bad. It's just that they get tiring to see over and over and over again. But I think television's done really great for some of the elderly, honestly, because television, like you got the one like Schitt's Creek that a lot of people love.
Oh, Schitt's Creek.
Yeah. So they've done really well for like some of these older players. But the movie business, not so much. And Pierce Brosnan's like one of these guys. I'm like, you got to put him in more right now. We haven't seen him in a long time, like honestly. And I did like that Jaume-Colette did put him in this movie, and hired him for this role, because he was great in it, and it showed actually that in his older age, and now that he's much more seasoned at this, like he's got a lot to show off, man. He's got a lot of acting chops. Like he said, some of the more emotional beats happened with Pierce. Like you needed him in those scenes to hit those. He is fantastic and perfect casting for this role. I love Dr. Fate so much. I almost want an action figure. Like that's how much I love this character.
Oh, dude, that'd be sick.
Yeah. He blew my mind, man. I love the way that, by the way, I love that when, you know, him seeing the future, it kind of works like in Star Wars, right? When Yoda's like always in motion in the future, is like, you can change the future. He doesn't have to go that way. It's just the future he sees now, but that can always change. And I really like that. And I love when he was like, oh, you know, I've come up with the third option. You know, that was awesome.
Yeah, and then he just blocks up the temple. Dude,
awesome.
Oh my God,
awesome
man.
Scene. Yeah,
that was,
as far as like a plot twist goes, like that was good. Like I would say like it, because this movie tried to go for a few of them, but that one was definitely the most well executed. Yeah.
And then he saves Hawkman with the helmet.
Dude,
that was
stellar. I love that, dude. Man. That was the best stuff in the movie, because that was the one story they built well, you know, Hawkman and Dr. Fate and their relationship. By the way, got to talk about this too. Amanda Waller in the beginning. Oh my God. Why did they do this again? Because the way they were introducing the characters was just like Suicide Squad. Was it not?
Literally, bro, it literally was.
I hate that they had to do that.
Literally just saying their name and their abilities. Yeah. Like, oh my God, man. It was so redundant. Like
that felt too Suicide Squad for me.
Find more creative ways of, you know, introducing these characters that are going to be in this movie.
Exactly. And they did that same thing again, and I'm like, really? Like, didn't that
is one thing that I did. That's another thing that I didn't like.
It was one of the biggest complaints coming out of Suicide Squad for everybody. I just don't know why they had to retread it, you know. And don't get me wrong, I'm always up for more Viola Davis as Amanda Waller. She's incredible as that character.
Oh, dude. I mean, in Viola Davis, she's a talented as an actress.
Oh, great A, dude.
Dude, she's, oh my God, even the TV show she's been in. I mean, How to Get Away with Murder, she was amazing in that. Like, she's just, I've heard that she was amazing in The Woman King as well. I haven't seen it yet.
I haven't seen it either. It's great.
I've heard she's phenomenal in that. So like, she's a grade A actress.
You know, I hear is really good in that is John Boyega. Is really good in that.
Oh yeah, I've heard that he's really good. Yeah, I've heard that too.
Yeah, I'm interested. He's got a couple performances this year that have been getting a lot of buzz. That and the Breaking movie where he's the bank robber, and that looks really insane. But there's this vibe of Viola Davis in these things now where it feels like she's showing up for a paycheck and that's it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where
she was only in
comes in.
She was only in 2 scenes in this movie, and they were both telegraphic.
Yeah, it might have been 3 actually. You know, I'm thinking about it. I think they did show her just one other time. Might have just been a picture. I'm thinking about it, but I don't think that they. Yeah, she didn't really show up for much. She showed up to do the Viola Davis thing, the Amanda Waller thing. Let me talk about these characters, and then I'm gonna get out of here. And then
I'm gonna talk to Black Adam, and then that's it.
Yeah, gosh, that's delivery though by Cavill. Black Adam, we need to talk.
Oh, dude, that shit gave me so many chills. Oh my God, I was jumping up and down in my seat.
Yeah.
And then, bro, let me tell you a funny story.
Go ahead.
When the end credit scene finished. This lady, I turned around, this lady behind me was like, I can feel your excitement. I was like, lady, you don't even know. Like, bro, you don't even know the half of it. Like, they just set up something so amazing.
You should have given her the Cavill line from Batman v Superman. I don't care. I don't care. Like, you should have done that. That's one of my favorite Cavill lines.
She probably wouldn't have got it though.
No, but you would have, and that's all that matters.
Well, yeah, obviously.
Oh man, that would have been great. I don't know why that line stands out to me so much from Batman v Superman. I just love how he delivers it. He's so good, man. That guy. I love Cavill. In this one, yeah, man, I it gets me pumped, dude. It gets me pumped. Like I can imagine the poster now and just everybody going out to see that movie because, come on, man, Rock, Cavill.
Could be a possible Shazam and Superman versus Black Adam.
That could be interesting.
Yeah.
I think we got to see where Shazam 2 goes.
Yeah.
That's another thing that I was like, I won't dock the film too much for it, but I was kind of hoping for more implications on where Shazam 2 would go. But maybe there are, and we just don't know. Like, maybe there were things in this movie that are going to matter more to Shazam 2, and we just don't see it yet, because that could be That's something I've been trying to actually think
Well,
about it, and
I
I
mean
can't think of anything.
the main wizard's back in this movie, which should be exciting to see.
It was cool to see, but I
No, I
don't.
meant like in Shazam 2, he's gonna be back in it.
It's true.
Yeah,
I forgot about that.
yeah, exactly,
So that could connect somehow.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe he tells Shazam about Black Adam. I don't know, in like a post credit scene
Not
or
calling it
something. I
Cavill's
don't
in
know.
the post credit for Shazam 2. I'll call it right now.
That's what I'm telling you, bro. And then they're gonna set up this whole Shazam Superman versus Black Adam.
Yeah.
Henry, you know what? You know what? I'm gonna call it. Henry Cavill, Superman shows up to Shazam, tells him about Black Adam and how we need to take him out. That's
Hmm.
what's gonna happen. Something like that's gonna happen.
Yeah. That's possible.
Yeah.
I mean, Superman might need help. I know he's like the most powerful being in the universe, but he might need help with this because
I
Black
mean,
Adam's pretty
at
powerful.
this point, Black. I was about to say, at this point, Black Adam's probably pretty level with Superman.
Yeah, he's gonna need a little extra help. So Shazam could be a good
Exactly.
asset. Now that I'm thinking about it, it makes sense.
And Shazam and his friends who also have powers now.
Hmm.
Yeah.
The Shazam family. That's right.
Yeah.
They could step in and be a big help, honestly. Although I don't know if
Mm-hmm.
you'd want to put them in
Yeah.
harm's way like that. You know what I mean? Because like that's one thing we know about. You
They
know,
are ultimately they are kids when it comes down to it.
yeah. I don't know. They are kids. You're right. And if you know
Mhm.
anything about Billy, I mean, he's got a good heart. I just don't know that he'd want to put them all in harm's way, which could actually be a really nice way to set up just the Shazam versus Superman versus Black Adam, whatever. You know, Shazam and Superman versus Black
Yeah.
Adam. You know, just him being like, all right, Shazam family, you sit this one out. You know, because this is gonna
But I can see the poster now. You got Zachary Levi, Henry Cavill, and
be a
Dwayne
crazy cool
Johnson. Like
poster.
that poster. Oh, dude.
It'd be amazing. Yeah, I'd love to see that
You
movie.
you just have Shazam and Superman standing staring eye to eye
Yeah,
with Dwayne Johnson. Like, oh my god, dude,
you
that'd
could
be a
you
sick poster.
you can make some actually really good comedy too between Shazam and Superman. You know, that's the other thing that I think
Oh,
would put.
100%.
See, in a situation like that, I would
I
expect to
mean,
see that sillier humor. You know,
yeah, and just I mean, those three together, I feel we just have amazing chemistry too.
absolutely, absolutely. What I don't want them to do is just do this thing where it's like, okay, yeah, Black Adam decided to be a good guy, so we're not going to go through with that. Which I don't think they're doing, but that's what I don't want them to do. It sounds like
I
something
mean,
AT&T would have done when they were in
the
charge.
end credit scene definitely the end credit scene definitely didn't, you know, show that Black Adam's wanting to be a good guy.
Absolutely not. I just
But
don't want them to cop out. You know what I mean? Like I don't want this plot line to be a beginning of another movie. You know what I mean? Like I want this to
yeah,
be a whole movie. Make a whole movie. You're gonna make money if you make this the whole
I'm just
movie.
ready. I'm ready to hear the conversation between Cavill and Shazam, not Shazam, Black Adam and Superman. Should be an interesting conversation.
Yeah. I can't wait for that either. And I think that this would really set up a really good redemption for those that didn't really like Batman v Superman. You know, honestly, because
Yeah,
you're making another versus movie that's just hopefully better for everybody. Like honestly, hopefully is a win-win for everybody.
yeah,
I like
true.
Batman v Superman, but that's I'm in a minority. I like it. I don't love it. I want to love
Yeah,
one of
I feel
these.
like I I feel like there's also a lot more you can do with the movie that involves three gods.
Oh,
Like,
absolutely.
there's definitely a lot more that can be like, because with Batman v Superman, it was a god versus a human.
Yeah.
Um, but then also the reason why I hate that movie is because it's not even Batman versus Superman. It's Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman versus Doomsday. So it's
Yeah.
like uh, you could have named it something else, honestly, because it wasn't even the name of the name of this movie. It doesn't really live up to what I thought it was going to be.
Well, look,
So
they already tried to do their Avengers movie with Justice League. It didn't pan out so well for them until we saw
I
what
was
the
literally gonna say that Justice League is literally just like Avengers
this will be
Infinity
their
War.
Civil War. You know, so
Yeah,
that'll be very very cool. I think. I can't wait for this
I wonder
plan.
if Black Adam will try and find help. I just don't know who the hell he can find help from.
Yeah,
Because like I'm wondering, because like he's like, okay, maybe I'm gonna need some backup too, but I'm just
that's a
wondering
good
like who
question.
he could call upon for help.
That's a good question. I don't know.
If he even does call for help, maybe he just wants to take both of them on by himself.
The Flash, but it won't be who must not be named in there. But maybe that's the only. I don't even know that would work out.
I don't think Flash would team up with Black Adam.
That's the only one I can think of that would be like a decent
Well,
match.
you think he'd go against Superman and Shazam?
What about Wonder Woman? Maybe she makes a turn. I mean, that could be a cool plot for like Wonder Woman 3 if you're going to build her kind of turn somehow, right?
Because she's a god too, technically.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Yeah. Shit. Wonder Woman and Black Adam versus Shazam and
I kind of like it more I think about it.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Damn.
That could,
hey, Warner,
be a cool
Warner
plot.
Bros, if you're listening, I was kidding.
Well, they need a story for Wonder Woman 3, and I mean, just to kind of build this like turn, somehow her and Black Adam become buddies.
I was about to say, I mean, we'd have to first you'd have to find a reason to hate Superman. For starters.
Yeah.
And then also show how her and Black Adam become friends.
Yeah, I don't even know if it would have to be like hate Superman though. I don't even know that Black Adam hates Superman. I just think Superman's in his fucking way. I think that's what it is.
Yeah, but then how does my question is, how does Wonder Woman come into all this? That's the real question.
Well, she also kind of has like, you know, a different heritage, which is kind of, you know, that means a lot to her. And so like I could see it being kind of this, they could,
or maybe she can sympathize for Black Adam, yeah,
because he's a guy of a different heritage that's really just trying to protect that, and like maybe Wonder Woman sympathizes with the ideal, maybe more so than just,
yeah, I
don't know. It'd be a really cool movie, like when you think about it, like Superman and Shazam versus Wonder Woman and Black Adam. That'd be a really cool movie.
That would be, I could just, bro, that poster would be sick right there. We just keep adding, bro. Let's just keep adding people.
We're just spitballing, guys. But I'll tell you, Zaslav, you want $100 million overnight? That's what we do.
Bro, that poster right there would be sick. Wonder Woman and Black Adam staring down.
Probably more like 200 million.
Shazam and Superman. Dude, honestly, the budget for that would be insane, though. That's the thing.
Yeah. Thursday previews, man. It'd make $200 million right there. I don't know. Opening weekend, at least. Domestically. 200 million.
Well, I mean, if this one made 140 globally
worldwide,
and it's been out for 3 days, I mean, that movie would easily make that in like a day.
Yeah. I mean, this one doesn't have the best domestic reviews or critic reviews, I should say, to back it. So there's a lot of people, I think, that are still hesitant. I've talked to a lot of people that still don't want to see this movie, based on some of the early reception. So,
I mean, I had the same feeling towards Morbius, but then I finally watched it and it was actually better than I thought it was going to be.
I still need to watch that. It's on Netflix right now?
Yeah, it's on Netflix.
Yeah. I'll check it out. Look,
again, Matt Smith was the best part of that movie.
I love Matt Smith, obviously, and Jared Leto I'm a big fan of. I think he's a really good actor. So yeah, I'm not against. I like the girl that's in Andor too, so I'm looking forward to seeing her.
Oh yeah, she's incredible in this movie as well. In that movie,
I'll give Morbius a shot.
I mean, I finally did, and as much as I didn't want to, I finally gave it a shot, and it was actually better than I thought.
Yeah,
there's a lot of things bad with that movie, but like I said, overall, it was better than I thought.
Yeah.
I didn't hate the movie, but I didn't love it. It was one of those like kind of in the middle.
I gotcha. So Black Adam wasn't, like I said, I've seen worse comic book movies than Black Adam, without a doubt. There are worse comic book movies out there, a lot worse. This wasn't a terrible movie by any means. There's a lot to really like. Like I said, when this movie hits, it hits. Like I think when it plays, it really plays. So there's that. Like there's just like a lot of problems surrounding the way it plays, I guess, if that makes sense. Like I'm always kind of distracted by the great moments, by bad moments that happen before, bad moments that kind of happen after it. And it does feel, there's a little bit of a thing where it feels like it was a lot of really great scenes that they tried to tether together through like kind of lackluster plot. And that's kind of where my problems lie mostly. There's another thing about it that feels very much like the first Transformers movie in its tone. And like, I like the first Transformers movie, but I would say this is better than that. Maybe, I don't know. But the tone, like, it just doesn't feel like it's from this time. I don't know how to explain it any other way. Like, it feels like it's got kind of a Michael Bay tone to it. Like, honestly, like there were parts where I was really feeling like Michael Bay directed this movie. And not that everything Michael Bay's done is bad. It's just, there's times in this movie it just felt too 90s or something. I don't know. But I've seen worse, you know. I've seen a lot worse. They could have done a lot worse. It's fine.
Yeah, for sure.
It's fine. This movie, it plays. All right, look, let's go ahead and grade this thing. Jose, where are you gonna put Black Adam?
Yeah, I'd put it at a might go.
Yeah, believe it or not, I'm still gonna go might go with it. Yeah,
because it's like, it's one of those, like, do I think that you should waste more money going to IMAX? Maybe. I really enjoyed watching it at IMAX. That might have made the experience, because you watched it, what, digital?
No.
Would you?
Oh, you mean like regular standard? Yeah, sorry, standard. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. I mean, that might have made the experience different, obviously, because I watched it in IMAX.
Yeah, maybe IMAX helps it. Yeah, I didn't pay the extra.
I mean,
but
would I recommend you to go watch an IMAX? If you want to spend the extra, like $10 or whatever, then by all means go. You don't have to if you don't want to. You can just watch it in digital. But if you want a better experience, then I would recommend watching it in IMAX, just because it really enhanced my experience of this movie.
Yeah, I'm at a lower might go, because I think that on one end, was everything about this for me? No. On another end, I think a lot of people are going to enjoy it. So there's that. And if you wanted to see it, maybe go see it. The Rock is awesome in the movie. I mean, if you want to go see Dwayne Johnson act his ass off, he does really well in this movie. I mean, he does. He's being the movie star, man. You want to see the origins of this character? Yeah, go see it. I mean, if you don't really care and you didn't think you were going to like it, you're probably right. You're probably not going to be one of those who liked it. So don't go. You know, for me, I thought I was going to like this and ended up being disappointed. So there's that. I actually thought I was going to be on the more positive side of this. And I'm not on the negative side. Like, I'm not saying this is a bad movie. I'm not at a don't go. I'm still at the might go. Like, I still think it's good enough. I just, yeah, stuff that works, it works. Stuff that doesn't work, it doesn't work. Score is really good, by the way. That was another thing I wanted to point out. This is one of the better scores I've heard in recent comic book
100%.
movies. Yeah, very good score. So I want to throw that out there as well. But yeah, if you're one of those that was on the fence, yeah, don't go. Because you're probably right. Look, guys, this has been my review of Black Adam. I hope that everybody that went to see it did enjoy it, though, because I think there's a lot of highs in this one. I really do. I think that there's stuff that plays and is kind of worth seeing. So yeah, before we get out of here, Jose, thank you so much for joining me. Where can people find you?
Yeah. You guys can find me on all socials at Type 1 Latino, all lowercase, all together.
Yeah, you guys can find me on Twitter at Dom_Martino_, on Instagram, Dom_Martino_official. And if you haven't done so already, please go follow the Anorex pages on Twitter, Anorex Official, and Instagram, Anorex Official. Make sure you follow us on both platforms. Check this show out. It is on Spotify now, so make sure you go check it out. It's all updated. Check out some of the other things we got going on. We're doing episode reviews of Game of Thrones or House of the Dragon or Andor and She-Hulk and all that stuff. We got all that on the channel as well, so make sure you are checking all of it out. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining. I've been Dom Martino. This has been another episode of Movie Mornings. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave some feedback in the comment section, share this with your friends, hit the bell for notifications, and I will talk to you guys later.